on you.
Hey guys, this is Chris from Big Guys Outdoors. Today we're talking about something that everyone takes for granted because it's always on your gun and you just always shoot it. It's setting up your scope. Okay, so right here we have our Ruger Model 77. It's a 270. This is for my son. Picked it up for him, and it's just got this little 4-powered scope on there that I'm not sure exactly what it is. What we're putting on there is a Vortex Crossfire II. It is a 4x12 power by 40 millimeter scope, and it has 1-inch scope tube on there. So we're going to take this one off and we're going to put the new one on, and we're going to talk about how we're doing that and why it's important on how we're doing things and our torque specs and different things like that. So first things first, we're going to set this guy out of the way and we're going to take this old one off. Take that off. Today we are using the Weaver. It is a kit for mounting scopes and has its automatic torque on there as well, and so that's going to come in real handy when we do this. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they over torque their rings. Causes warpage in the scope and everything else, voids a lot of warranties, the whole 9 yards. So real important that you have an inch-pound torque wrench or screwdriver that you can do all this with. And boom, just like that, that's taken care of. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to clean these out a little bit, because I believe that these are going to sit in there just fine. And it does. So I bought some new rings to go with it because I wasn't sure what was on there to start with, but we're going to clean these out, make sure everything's real clean before we even set it on there, so there's no dirt, oil, and stuff like that that's in there. We're going to set this on here first, right about where you want it. Okay. We're going to just very loosely put the top on and barely put some screws in there. This sometimes takes a while if your screws aren't magnetized, and you'll end up dropping them. So you have something that you can do that on. Okay, so as you can see here, we can still turn this. Okay, we can still slide it back and forth a little bit here. That's what we want, because the next thing we're going to do is we are going to make sure that we can see through it, full field of vision, when we put our cheek right up to the cheek rest here. So that's going to be our next stop. Okay, I have full view. I have full view here, so I think I'd be all right. But just in case, I'm going to scoot it all the way back here to make sure that I'm not just seeing what I want to see. Yeah, so we're going to move that right back there where it was. Okay, and so now, at this point, we can get these screws just a little bit tighter. And when we go to do this, it's important you use kind of an X pattern and tighten them up evenly as you go across. When you're done, you should have the same gap on each side of these scope rings. If one side is way tighter than the other, you did it wrong. Just start over. And I got it finally loose enough where I can actually move this now, and I didn't screw it up and get it so tight. We're going to set this right inside of there, and you can see the level, and you're just going to want to kind of real easily move your gun, let it rest, make sure it's nice and level there. Okay, right between the bubbles. We're perfect there. We're going to lift this up, take it out. We're going to set it right on top here. And you can see now we got a little ways to turn it here. Okay, so turn, turn, turn. Look at that, just bounce right into place. Now we're going to go from there. We're going to check again. Slide that right into there. So we moved it just a smidge here. Sometimes it's a little nicer if you have a gun vise that clamps down real hard. This one just hold her in place pretty well. So we're happy with that there. Check one more time up top here. Just a little off. Little movements are a lot. And so boom, right there. Now we're good to go. Now we can go back to tightening. And when I say I want an X pattern, we're gonna go this back rear to the front, back to the front, back to the back, okay? Make an X straight across each one of these, and then from there, we'll check everything again and make sure we're set. So we're back now. Everything is just barely snug across everything here. I'm checking my level again because I don't want to have to do this all over again. So far my top hasn't moved. As long as my bottom hasn't moved, we should be fine. I'm good to go. And it's fine. It's great. So we're good here. I'm still going to leave this up here because if you tighten it up too tight on one side, it might have a tendency to just pull it that way just a little bit. So now I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm just going to give it a nice little turn here. Sometimes I've gotten guns from other places and you get them and they say, oh, we torqued it and everything's fine, which is 100% true, but they might not do it like this. And if you see a big gap on one end, well then maybe you need to say, hey, is this supposed to be like this? Especially if you're purchasing a big model firearm, you want it to be done right, especially when you're spending that much money on the glass as well. There we go. Just clicked on me there. Click. Click. Okay, so all those torqued. I'm going to go back over those one more time after I get this front done. The extra click you hear is the reset. Okay, so now that's there. We're going to go again over to this one. Just double checking. Okay, so we're on. Everything's torqued to specs as per Vortex, and the rings that are on there, and everything's good there. I would definitely recommend, after a period of use and sighting this in, that you go back through and recheck the torque. Bouncing around, heat, shooting bullets through here has an effect on this. Each one of these screws is like a spring. The hotter you get, the more it expands, okay? So go through each one again after you sight it in and check the torque again. So that's pretty much in a nutshell how to just mount a scope, and we're going to sight this in a little later and we'll keep you informed on that. So this is Chris with Big Guys Outdoors. We test it so you don't have to.